So we have a 2011 Honda Odyssey with a cylinder 3 misfire and about 70,000 miles on each spark plug. So we're going to replace all 6 spark plugs and the cylinder 3 ignition coil. And so first we need to remove the engine cover by loosening the 2 tabs and then just lifting the cover off. We'll start by disconnecting each ignition coil on the front side of the engine. They're just little push tabs that you just push the end in and it should pop off. Next, you want to grab a 10mm socket and remove the nuts for each ignition coil. Next, you can just pop the ignition coils out. There should be enough space underneath the crossbar to actually get them out without taking anything else off. Now we can start removing the spark plugs with a spark plug socket and a 4-inch extension. Now this is just a personal preference, but I prefer to install my new spark plugs as I remove the old ones. That way I can keep track of which ones I've replaced and which ones I have not. The spark plugs we're using are NGK. They are what comes standard in most Hondas and are actually a very high quality spark plug. One reason why Honda is such a reliable vehicle. Now we'll reinstall our ignition coils, our nuts, and don't forget to reconnect those connectors. Now we move to the back side of the engine. And here's a look at the new ignition coil we'll be installing on cylinder 3. Now it's the same process on the back side it was on the front side, except it's extremely hard to see back there, so you're kind of doing this blind. But the tabs did get stuck on me, so I had to use a flathead screwdriver to help me pry them open. This happens from time to time as your vehicle gets older. The clips just don't want to lever up and release. So I used a flathead screwdriver and was able to pop it off just fine. Now, as you can see, it's a tight fit on this particular ignition coil, and so you'll have to push the heater core hose down to try to give yourself enough clearance to get the coil out. And let's not forget our new ignition coil, which was the main cause for our misfire. And it's always good to double check, make sure all the bolts and clips are secure, and then just put your engine cover back on, and then we'll go to clear the codes. Okay, so we got the ignition coil replaced, all 6 spark plugs, but I did want to show you guys something. Notice these 3 here, fairly clean. I had a tune-up done about 70,000 miles ago, but look at these here. Way more carbon and corrosion on them. Still in decent shape, but compared to the ones that were on the front, these are the front 3, these are the rear. Now, this isn't definitive proof that this happens, but this is evidence that somebody replaced the front spark plugs and left the rear in place. Okay, and this is things you got to kind of keep aware of. Make sure that you have a trustworthy mechanic, because apparently they had this done at a dealership and this still happened. Now, again, it's not 100% sure that they did that, but it is strong evidence when all 3 of the rear are way more carbon buildup than the front.